Hey everyone, thanks again for joining me. It's me, Matt. Before we get stuck into our helicopter video today, let me know what your favourite helicopter of the seas are. Yes, of course, there are naval aviation helicopters and ground-based, or basically army-based helicopters. I'd love to know what your favourite naval-based helicopter is. I don't know enough about how they operate. I'd really like to learn more about anti-submarine warfare, but today we're really getting stuck into a helicopter that is very prominent, particularly in the British Royal Navy and British Army. The AgustaWestland AW159 Wildcat, which is quite a masterpiece in modern naval military aviation and an incredible piece of equipment. This aircraft was initially known as the Future Lynx, which represents a significant evolution in rotary wing aviation. Developed by the British-Italian manufacturer AgustaWestland, now part of Leonardo, this state-of-the-art helicopter builds upon the legacy of the Westland Super Lynx to deliver enhanced versatility, a highly advanced technology placed inside of it, and unparalleled operational capability. Now, the Wildcat has become a cornerstone really for the British Army and the Royal Navy, fulfilling a multiple range of roles including reconnaissance, troop transport, anti-submarine, anti-surface warfare, you name it. Its development really marks a pivotal moment in modern British military aviation, addressing evolving combat and support needs with some pretty good cutting-edge engineering. Now, the Wildcat traces its lineage back to the Westland Lynx helicopter. I've been on the Lynx. What an incredible aircraft, very fast, incredible bit of kit. First helicopter I flew on was a Lynx, and then my second was a Gazelle, third was a Chinook, and so on and so forth. It was introduced in the 1970s, and it was designed primarily for anti-submarine warfare for the Navy and utility missions for the Army, and the Lynx proved to be a versatile platform. Over time, it expanded into roles such as battlefield reconnaissance, casualty evacuation, tactical troop transport, logistics, airborne command, and anti-surface warfare. Despite its effectiveness, though, the aging Lynx fleet faced huge limitations in modern combat requirements, and emerging technological advancements were required. The Future Lynx program emerged in the early 2000s to address these challenges, aiming to replace the Royal Navy and the British Army's Lynx helicopters with the next generation aircraft. In 1995, the British government announced its intentions to replace the Royal Navy's Lynx helicopters with an all-Merlin fleet, and it was a sad day for most Lynx pilots back then. I know a number of my friends whose fathers were actually pilots in the Royal Navy flying Lynxes, and they do really enjoy the aircraft. However, during the late 1990s, Westland Helicopters began discussions with the Ministry of Defence to explore future roles for the Lynx. Multiple strategies were proposed, ranging from life extension upgrades of existing Super Lynx airframes to comprehensive remanufacturing programs. These plans culminated in the Future Lynx project, designed to create an entirely new generation helicopter that incorporated state-of-the-art systems and capabilities. In July 2002, there was an assessment phase, and AgustaWestland was awarded a contract to conduct a formal assessment for the Future Lynx program. This project was divided into two distinct components: the Surface Combatant Maritime Rotorcraft, or SCMR program for the Royal Navy, and the Battlefield Light Utility BLUH program for the British Army. The aim was to design a helicopter that could meet the unique operational demands of both services while leveraging commonality to reduce costs, and as we all know, modularity is key in modern logistical and supporting roles for any military equipment of today. So, AgustaWestland collaborated with Thales Group, tasking them with developing core avionics including navigation, communication, and flight management systems. This partnership laid the foundation for a very advanced helicopter that would far exceed the capabilities of its predecessor. By April 2003, planned in-service dates for the BLUH and the SCMR variants were set for 2007 and 2008 respectively. Now, there was a lot of pushback to transition to a completely new airframe. Initial assessments considered upgrading the existing Lynx airframes. However, by 2004, it became clear that remanufacturing would be very cost prohibitive and unable to meet the stringent requirements of the program. Consequently, the focus shifted to developing an entirely new airframe from scratch, with an emphasis on durability, advanced avionics throughout, and operational flexibility. The AW-159 Wildcat is a testament to modern helicopter design, incorporating numerous structural and technological advancements. First and foremost, the helicopter features a redesigned nose and tail rotor, a low-set symmetric tailplane, and enlarged cockpit doors for improved access. The fuselage was re-engineered to provide easier access for avionics and enhancing its internal space. These changes were huge for crews operating them, particularly at sea, and combined with increased use of machine components over fabricated ones, the result was a much more robust and aerodynamically efficient platform. The airframe was strong, and when you have a helicopter landing at sea, often bouncing off and down on the decks, you want something that's strong. The Wildcat was built to withstand the demands of modern military operations of today, with a maximum all-up mass of 6,000 kilograms and provisions for incremental upgrades to 6,250 kilograms over its 30-year planned lifespan. The airframe's reinforced undercarriage and strengthened tail reassures that the durability in case of a crash is also very strong. There is also armoured crew seating, which enhances safety from ground fire if required. The Wildcat employs British Experimental Rotor Program or BERP composite main rotor blades, paired with an all-new 4-blade tail rotor. This configuration provides an improved yaw control at high weights and enhances flight stability, particularly in very challenging environments like that at sea, very windy and wet and nasty weather conditions. Thales UK supplied a sophisticated avionics suite integrating glass cockpit featuring 4 10x8-inch liquid crystal displays for mission data and flight control. It also integrated a mission planning system or MPS, which allows pre-mission data to be inputted and rehearsals in both 2D and 3D environments even prior to going into the helicopter. Communication systems are also heavily focused on, including secure voice and data capabilities, and the Bowman network integration for the Army variant. All electronic surveillance measures were also pushed into the Navy variant because, of course, surveillance is very key when capitalizing on the fleet and needing to send out a arm, so to speak, or an eye, into the seas and see what's coming. So the surveillance systems put inside this aircraft are very good, and you can see on the front of the aircraft that nose kind of eye, I always call them pigeon eyes, are very good at locating and finding targets from long distance with very, very good definition and resolution on those screens. In terms of power, this is very powerful aircraft. The AW-159 is powered by a twin LHTC CTS 800 4N engines developed by Honeywell and Rolls-Royce. These engines deliver 36% more power than the Lynx's GEM engines while maintaining similar fuel efficiency. They enable exceptional hot and high performance, critical for operations in challenging terrains and climates. The helicopter boasts an endurance of up to 4.5 hours with auxiliary fuel, enhancing its versatilities across mission profiles, particularly of that at sea, where you don't really want to run out of fuel when we're trying to scan ahead of the fleet or look for submarines. The Wildcat is very versatile though, and it's really good at a multitude of different things, even picking up people apparently in the centre of London. For reconnaissance and surveillance, the advanced sensor suites that are on board of this ship are very, very good for real-time intelligence. For combat support, it is armed with machine guns and missiles for offensive and defensive operations, and other nations are utilising this system as well and putting their own packages on there. The Navy variant includes an AESA radar, Stingray torpedoes, and advanced missile systems such as the Martlet and Sea Venom. It can also launch nasty levels of anti-submarine warfare sonar systems to find anything that is under the waves. The British Army's Wildcat version is equipped with third-party target designation, supporting platforms like the Apache AH1 and Apache Longbow systems. Its modular weapon systems and avionics allow it to adapt to various mission requirements, from anti-submarine warfare to troop transport or just knocking out tanks. Primarily for the British Army, this is more of a reconnaissance and transport helicopter. It's not going to be primarily set up with its own Hellfire rockets because the Apache takes that role, but it could, if necessarily, be turned into its own little setup. While primarily developed for the British Armed Forces, the AW-159 Wildcat has gained international recognition. Operators, as you can see here, include the Republic of Korea and their Navy, and the Philippine Navy, showcasing its basic global appeal as a reliable and adaptable military rotorcraft. And hate to say it because I'm British, but normally when the Brits buy things, it's normally fairly good. And the Wildcat is certainly leaving off the legacy of the Lynx, which around the world, again, is a very notable and respected airframe, and that people just say, you know what, if they've upgraded and really fine-tuned this thing into an even more modernized helicopter, which is why you're seeing places like South Korea purchasing this aircraft. It's fairly prominent in the fleet needing to be protected in Korea. Of course, a massive naval presence there, and having a reliable aircraft like this is something you're really going to want. Now, there's a lot of other aircraft out there that are very similar and very good at their own capabilities. The thing I love, though, about this aircraft is it is really building upon that legacy of the Lynx. I've flown on a Lynx. I know many people who have operated them. I know pilots. I know people who have, operated with them on operational tour. Incredible aircraft. And to then say we're going to restart this thing from scratch, but give a fairly similar kind of setup as the old one, just configure it to perfection. And personally, I think that's pretty cool. Now, both the Army and Royal Navy versions will be equipped with the L3 WesCam MX-15DI electro-optical laser designating turret, which you can see on the front there, under contract placed in 2007. It's been around for a while, but doing very well for itself. The Royal Navy variant is also fitted with the CELEX sensors, Airborne System Sea-Spray 7000E active electronically scanned array, and of course the M3M heavy machine gun HMG can be fitted on both the Army and Royal Navy Lynx Wildcats for offensive capabilities and for self-protection, basically having a nice big 50 caliber if they need to. Now, the Royal Navy has also done a lot of really good work with trying to upgrade their new systems to carry better weapon systems, better, target systems. The Sea-Skewer is part of the MOD's Future Air Surface Guided Weapon, or the FSGW program, and in September 2005, CELEX Sensors and Airborne Sensors Systems announced that the CELEX Helicopter Integrated Defense Aid System, or HIDAS-15, was selected also for the Lynx Wildcat. Modularity is super key though with these aircraft, and the Wildcat will allow the use for modular armor fittings to further enhance the survivability, as well as offer crash resistant seating for the crew, which is basically like shock absorbing seating for the most part. They were trying to upgrade a lot of the vehicles that I was working with whilst in Afghanistan with that kind of stuff for mine resistance, but when you're in an aircraft, of course you're not running over mines, you're worrying about whether or not your engine's going to fail and you're going to hit the deck. And the crash resistant crew seating is allowing the crew to hopefully at least not come out with a spine injury and maybe just a bump on the head. For search and rescue sorties, the Wildcat will be fitted with a rescue hoist and designed to accept wounded people on litters of different sizes in the cabin, basically meaning you can have 2, 3, 4, 5 depending on where you set up the aircraft or what it's set up for, which again is really important, that modularity. If you want your aircraft to be purely medevac, you're going to rip all the guts out of it with that new improved bigger door and opening to put more litters of troops and those who need to be medevaced out of there. Additionally, as a troop transport, it will supply multiple seats in the cabin for combat-ready troops and can host up to 7 combat-ready soldiers if necessary. For urban and forested deployments, the cabin can be fixed with a rappelling kit for quick insertion, and as you can see here, the systems for the Navy do have the ability to drop those sonar arrays if absolutely required to protect against submarines for the fleet. And I have to admit, these are probably one of the most scary helicopters to any submariner out there, because this is what's going to find you. Most of the time it's not always the ships that are going to be bouncing that sonar off you or another submarine. It's going to be these guys, okay? They're going to be finding that active sonar array, dropping in that buoy, and then finding you. And these helicopters can stay on station for 4.5 hours. So yes, these are terrifying for any submariner, and rightly so. I mean, the Wildcat has been purposely set up for the Royal Navy to find submarines and knock it out with that torpedo if necessary. So, quite scary stuff. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, folks. Please leave me a like and, of course, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and hit the bell button too, because YouTube absolutely hates me right now. I'm not sure why my content isn't working, and a lot of you have been posting messages about trying to improve it, but I don't think there's much I can do. I think competition is just eating alive my channel, but it is what it is. Thanks again, folks. I hope you have a wonderful day. All the best. Bye-bye.